Trigger warning, much of the content in this video may be disturbing or upsetting to some viewers. Also, all of the content in this video is protected by the Copyright Act of 1976. The importance of mental health and the conversations surrounding it have been less stigmatized in the social media era. Gabbie Hanna is a social media influencer with millions of subscribers and followers who has been very open about her struggles with mental health. However, she has also been exposed over the years for being a pathological liar,
I'm a manipulative, sociopathic monster.
unnecessarily playing the victim,
all of these people for what they've done to me. And for them to be tweeting right now, I'm playing the victim, I am the f***ing victim.
and acting out in desperation for attention. Last week, she posted a series of about 200 TikToks where she appears to be experiencing a full-blown manic episode. This obviously raised a ton of concern, but there are some people out there that would suggest that Gabbie is the kind of person who would pretend to have a full-on psychotic break if it meant that she could get people to feel bad for her and give her attention. Today we are going to dive into the history of Gabbie Hanna and see if her manipulation tactics are working or if she needs some serious help. Stay hydrated. In June of 2012, the world got introduced to a new social media app called Vine. Nobody could have predicted how popular 6-second videos would become, and how much creativity and effort would be put into making these short masterpieces. Vine's popularity skyrocketed less than 1 year after it launched, and although this graph makes it look like it fell off fast, everyone who lived during that time knew it held cultural relevance for at least 2 to 3 years. The level of fame these Viners reached was something that the world had not seen since MySpace celebrities 7 years earlier. The 3 most famous female Viners in order were Lele Pons, Brittany Furlan, and Gabbie Hanna, with nearly 5 million followers. Gabbie's third Vine ever uploaded had the caption, "How to be a narcissist," which could have defined the next decade of her career. A lot of her humor that made her popular could be summarized as 20-something girl who is ironically self-obsessed and constantly admits her need for validation from others.
Okay, so if I'm not funny, then how do you explain all my likes and followers and retweets and... Oh, right. As a girl, I can't really rely on humor to get followers, so if you help me out, I will fully blow your mind. I guess some thirsty-ass bitches out here getting naked for a revine. Is that what you're looking for?
Or when she was feeling herself, there wouldn't be any irony.
The smallest things make me so happy. I think that's why I stayed with my ex-boyfriend for so long. 21 text, bro? You're not thirsty, you're f***ing dehydrated. Everyone thinks I got my 19K based solely on my looks. Wait, you guys think I'm that pretty?
Some people loved her confidence, others took it for arrogance. Since the very beginning, she joked about her being crazy and toxic, insinuating that these traits made her cute and quirky.
Of course I trust you, don't be silly. Now give me your password! I love waking up next to you, babe. But you fell asleep on the left and woke up on the right, so where the did you go last night? Babe, your Vine is so funny. Now block every single one of these thirsty bitches who liked it!
Oh, and she liked to sing.
Dog kicks, you better run, I'll run my gun. Yeah!
And whenever she got hate from people online, she addressed it.
I'm getting really tired of all these girls calling me a whore because I have my boobs in the shot. Do you want me to film like this? Is this better? Shut the I have a big nose! I'm a huge slut. I'm not funny. I'm unoriginal. And I'm ugly.
Her haters saw her as a narcissist, ironically pretending like she wasn't, and her fans admired her quirky, touch my butt and buy me pizza raw XD Tumblr girl personality. During her peak, she was getting 2 to 4 million views on every single post. Now, pursuing a social media influencer career was still a new concept. Most of these creators were not able to monetize their massive audiences. Vine didn't pay them, and sponsors were not keen on influencer marketing. If you want to feel your best, you gotta look the best, which is why my friends at Manscaped are hooking you up with everything you need. They sent me the Perfect Package 4.0, and it's filled with the good stuff. First up, the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This is my go-to trimmer that I've been using for the past 6 months. No cuts, no nicks, on my face, or down below. I like to take a disposable magic mat they give me and throw it in the sink so nothing gets stuck in the drain. Or you can even use your trimmer in the shower since it's waterproof. When you're done, throw it on the wireless charging station. Boom, you get 90 minutes on a full charge. They also hooked it up with the Shears 2.0, which is a 4-piece essential grooming kit. I need to trim my nails at least 2 times per week. I even tried filing them for the first time and I like it. Plus, for a limited time only, you can get the anti-chafing boxer briefs, which are genuinely some of the most comfortable underwear I've ever worn. I even tried to use the weed whacker to trim my nose hairs. It tickled, but It worked pretty well. Do yourself a favor and head to manscaped.com to get 20% off plus free international shipping, plus 2 free gifts when you use promo code PatrickCC at checkout. So if they weren't doing meet and greet tours around the country, they were looking to another digital medium to get paid: YouTube.
For everyone suggesting I make a YouTube channel, I'm flattered, I really am, but I can only be funny for 6 seconds at a time.
Well, turns out she made a YouTube channel anyways. The Vine to YouTube pipeline started around 2014. A lot of Viners struggled in the beginning because keeping people's attention for 6 seconds versus multiple minutes is drastically different. However, Gabbie was one of the success stories. The 24-year-old starting uploading vlogs, makeup tutorials, and her famous storytime videos. Her fans admired her charisma, bubbly and silly personality, while also being able to laugh at herself and point out her own flaws. She seemed balanced, but knew how to exaggerate her stories in the perfect way.
This is one of those stories. I try to avoid making videos about people, but this story is so out of control that I just need to share it.
Within a year, she went from 32,000 subscribers to 700,000 subscribers. Gabbie had a seemingly endless archive of shitty situations that she turned into stories for YouTube. I think we can all agree that storytime YouTubers tend to stretch the truth to make the story more interesting and exciting, which basically means they get rewarded for lying. This usually leads to a blurred line between what is real and what is fake. Then they can't even remember their own lies, but maybe it's not that big of a deal since it's all entertainment. However, her first public controversy came to light from these videos. I'll admit this situation does seem insignificant, but the way she handled it really set the tone for her future. The Gabbie Show YouTube comedian caught stealing all her jokes. This viral Reddit post contained a now deleted video showing famous comedians performing jokes and then Gabbie essentially stealing them in her videos. One of the most obvious examples of theft was with this Louis C.K. bit.
This is India, right? No, it's not. It's totally other place. You're not Indians? No. Ah, you're Indians.
It's like Christopher Columbus came to this land. He was like, I found India. And they were like, nope, not India. And he was like, you sure? I'm pretty sure it's India. And they're like, no, it's not India. And he said, India.
On top of that, Gabbie was also caught stealing various tweets word for word. Most people look at this and think, surely a simple apology could fix this. But Gabbie uploads a 22-minute video of uncut rambling where she kinda sorta apologizes, but then comes up with a ton of reasons to justify herself.
Holy I stole that joke.
She then goes on to claim cryptomnesia, which is basically when you are 100% convinced you had an original thought, but you actually read it somewhere or heard someone else say it in the past.
I heard it and I said it. But I will say that it was not intentional.
Then her response to stealing tweets.
I didn't steal it. I'm not saying that there isn't a chance that 2 or 3 years ago I was rolling through my feed, stored it somewhere in my brain, and then when I saw it, I thought it. But even if that happened, I never intentionally stole that joke.
Her responses are some of the most classic manipulation tactics that can be found with one Google search. I didn't say that, and if I did, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you didn't understand it. And if you did, it's not a big deal. And if it is, others have said worse. Was this all pointless drama? Probably. But what you'll realize is that this becomes a huge trend in Gabbie's life. Minute drama that could be resolved easily, but gets way overblown to such heights that people's lives are affected. In 2016, Vine shut down, and Gabbie focused all of her attention on YouTube, which was the best decision for her. She went from 800,000 to 3 million subscribers in a year. She was uploading multiple times per week and generating millions of views. Pranks, story times, rants, vlogs, it didn't matter what she was doing. People were loving it. She was nominated for 2 Teen Choice Awards. She was touring around the country lip-syncing to popular music. She was collaborating with almost every popular YouTuber at the time. Liza Koshy, Lily Singh, The Dominic Show, Brent Rivera. But despite all of this monumental success, she said 2016 was one of the worst years of her life. She made this claim because of the joke stealing controversy and a video that RiceGum made where he dissed her.
I pass you in subs because you're struggling to grow. I don't think there's anything bigger than your nose.
But these criticisms affected her a lot.
Like maybe if I got cancer and died, people would leave me the alone. Because all of these really negative things happened to me, I was forced to find ways to survive.
Now, dealing with the toxicity of internet fame is tough at times for sure, but her reaction to the trolls seemed a tad overdramatic and a classic way a 13-year-old would respond. 2016 was Gabbie's most successful year by far. She was in her prime. She was highly praised and very well liked. So for her to feel like it was the worst year of her life and that she was merely trying to survive during it shows that she was very unprepared for how bad things were going to get. This YouTuber named Dom was playing a game of smash or pass and passed on Gabbie.
Why would you pass on Gabbie?
It's not my type, man. Shit.
She's not my type either. She's not Asian.
The clip I just showed you was everything that he said. This was her reaction.
See you in Orlando.
Many months later, she confronted him about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's
so
talk.
You passed me.
I did.
So you mean to tell me that if tonight we got a little bit drunk and I was like, hey, I'm really interested in you. You think you're out of my league?
I don't say you're out of my league. No.
Now you just watched the story unfold. This is how she remembers it today.
So before I met him, he played a game of smash or pass publicly on YouTube. And when my picture came up, he demonized me and demeaned me.
It's not my type.
You know, like a misogynistic, disgusting piece of shit who acts as if he could have a chance with me anyway. So at a party, he approached me like nothing was wrong, and I confronted him about it. And I said I didn't like that, and he was like, oh, come on, it's just games. And I said, well, you're too short for me to
Almost 100% of what Gabbie said in that clip was a lie, but really just goes to show that she cannot handle the idea that someone may not like her.
Hey, RiceGum. I just challenged you to a live battle on Snapchat. Would you do it?
No.
Live rap battle. Why wouldn't you do it?
No, I don't want to.
Okay, so update. Sorry if it looks like I'm crying. RiceGum didn't think that joke was very funny, and he hit me in the middle of a party and shattered my phone. I can show you that in a sec. And let's say, because I don't have any photo evidence, just like eyewitnesses of him grabbing me, holding me down, and hitting me and like twisting my arm, he still shattered my phone. I don't want it to seem like I'm like blowing this up and like he like punched me in the face and like destroyed my phone beyond repair. No, it's like cracked screen, cracked camera, scratches and stuff.
The story went from, he hit me, to, even if he didn't hit me, he broke my phone, to, okay, he didn't hit me, to, okay, he did hit me, but it wasn't like that bad. But everyone believed Gabbie and her story at first. Then a witness came out with a statement that changed the perception.
And she just kept filming, and he just jumped up, you know, and went to reach for her phone, and she's sitting on the couch, he's standing up, and it was more of like a tug of war, you know, them pulling the phone back and forth, maybe for a few seconds, and then he snatched the phone out of her hand and slammed down the ground and broke the phone and then walked out.
But in true RiceGum fashion, he made another diss track on her that got millions of views. Gabbie was filming him, and he didn't like it. RiceGum admits to grabbing her phone with both hands and that there was a struggle, and he smashed her phone on the ground. He also did send her $1,100 to right his wrong. She was definitely provoking him, but he lost his cool, so it seems like she was the victim in this situation. But this was a pivotal moment for Gabbie. She tried to make yet another long-winded video exposing RiceGum and his lies, but he wouldn't engage in a back and forth with her. The masses still sided with RiceGum. The public perception was that Gabbie should not have repeatedly shoved a camera in his face, and that RiceGum's actions were justified. She would say many years later that this situation ruined her.
because I haven't been able to be myself since like RiceGum assaulted me at a party and everybody sided with him and then he made a music video about it.
What do you mean I start drama with people? Like, where? And I realized it all goes back to RiceGum, like that situation. I never considered that like starting drama. This is like a real disconnect that I had from the rest of the internet, I think.
But Gabbie kept it pushing. She released a poetry book called Adultolescence in mid-2017. The book, quote, touches on a wide range of topics, from funny advice that I can give you and dreams, to more serious topics like mental illness and homelessness, depression, and anxiety. I'm not sure how it performed, but in 2020 a lot of people made critique videos about it. I don't know why it took 3 years, but I guess when it came out it wasn't popular enough to make a viral video. Most of her poetry can be summarized as, I'm 14 and this is deep. But she was still crushing it on YouTube. I mean, every video she posted got over 1 million views, sometimes even 3, 4, 5 million. The love definitely outshined the hate, and she had the most valuable and die-hard fan base of them all, teenage girls. Many of us know that celebrities who have mostly young female fans are the most loyal, cult-like, and sometimes toxic fan bases of them all. So no matter what Gabbie did, they were riding for her. Gabbie had expressed her love for singing for a long time, and she made a ton of videos that showcased her singing abilities. But she never wrote and recorded an official single to release as an artist. That changed on September 6, 2017, when she debuted Out Loud on her YouTube channel. The song was beloved by her fanbase. It was a high-quality, professionally produced single. like something you might hear on the radio. Now at almost 5 million subscribers, Gabbie had a lot to be proud of, and now a seemingly promising music career. She dropped another song, Satellite. Shortly after then, stopped uploading on her main channel for months, a cardinal sin for YouTubers. She continued to vlog on her second channel, but would stop posting consistently on there as well. We've seen many YouTubers think that they're going to become full-on pop stars or rappers when they have 1 or 2 good songs. They are quick to abandon their core audience on YouTube, but it almost never works that way. Fans get angry. Fans get upset that you're no longer feeding them the content that they once loved. She would return to her vlog channel for update videos. They were a little more raw and uncut, but people were suggesting that she was doing it only to promote a new single, and they were probably right. Her first upload back on her main channel in 7 months was a new single, Honestly, which debuted number 21 on the Billboard Bubbling Under Hot 100 charts, which is basically like the most popular songs that haven't reached the official Hot 100. Her second channel turned into a weekly story about how stressful, exhausting, chaotic, and terrible her life is, despite yet again being more successful than she has ever been. Then on October 26th, 2018, her new song Monster dropped, and then she does the Genius lyric video, which was probably the best way to promote a single on the internet at that time.
So what if I'm the monster that's been here all along?
But it did not go her way, and the memes started rolling in.
What if I'm the monster? What if I'm the monster?
I don't think I can accurately explain how massive this meme was, but it was everywhere, and this is probably how most people discovered Gabbie. It was easily her most viral moment. Gabbie made a reaction video to the memes in arguably the worst way possible. First of all, the merch. Gabbie putting "desperate for attention" on a t-shirt is her way of sticking it to the haters, just like her early vines. She tries to use these ironic tactics to deflect, but you can still ironically wear a t-shirt that says "desperate for attention" and be unironically desperate for attention. Then she tried to prove to the viewer that she could actually sing.
So when I went in that day, I was super sick, and you can ask the Genius guys because I was blowing my nose in between every take. So I feel like I was really shaky on that. I wish I could have just been like, in my head that you stayed, and I hope you'll miss me eventually.
Then she reacted to the memes that she thought were funny, and she did the thing where she's trying to deflect the criticism that she is inevitably going to face in the comments.
I'm also so ready for all the comments of people saying, look at her pretending to be laughing. She's fake laughing so hard. Because every time I laugh at a hater, people say that I'm fake laughing. Oh my god, wait, I need to pretend to be crying for the thumbnail.
Gabbie was seemingly hurt by the memes. Her trying to predict the criticism that she's going to get is her way of deflecting it, or trying to diminish it. Kind of like when somebody is trying to convince you how much they don't care about something, the more they talk about it, the more you start to realize how much they care. But this virality actually inspired her to jump back into being a regular YouTuber in 2019. She started making cleaning videos, which became a new fan favorite. She showed how filthy her living situation got over the past few years, and was documenting the process of making a positive change in her life while sharing stories with the audience. She wasn't over the top charismatic, but the videos were comforting and realistic. It felt like a new beginning for the community. She also released her debut album, Two-Way Mirror, which peaked at number 5 on the Billboard Top Emerging Artists chart, on top of a number of new music videos that generated millions of views. So after quitting YouTube for over a year, successfully coming back and satisfying her audience, and releasing a ton of music that was well liked, surely she wouldn't mess it up again. But she did. And this time, it was permanent.
If somebody tells you that somebody has an STD, an incurable STD, it comes from a close friend of theirs, a source, and then you find out that a friend of yours is sleeping with them, is it wrong of you to say, hey, just so you know, I've heard this, don't know if it's true, but this person told me, talk to them about it, ask about it. Is that f***ed up? I'm just genuinely curious.
So let's provide some context. Trisha Paytas, popular creator online, is extremely problematic herself, but in this case, not so much. She starts dating Jason Nash, a member of the Vlog Squad. Gabbie texted him and said, Trisha has herpes, so if you had sex, now you have herpes. Then Trisha uploads a long video, livid about the situation, since she didn't even really know Gabbie.
She seems fine. I actually don't even know the girl. I don't know her. I've met her on 2 occasions for seconds. Like, I've talked to her for seconds. She's reached out to me a bunch of times.
When she confronted Gabbie in the DMs, we get some classic deflection. First of all, I didn't tell Jason you had herpes. I told him a very close person to you told me you did, and I told him. Gabbie claims one of Trisha's close friends gave her this information, and Gabbie was just being a good friend to Jason by informing him. Most people look at this and say, well, if you're going to make a claim like this, you need to ask more questions. Cite your sources. Who told you this information? Or maybe just mind your business in the first place. I mean, we were talking about a 28-year-old at this time. Using the "someone who knows you told me this" argument, I don't think I've heard that one since 9th grade. But after both sides ranted, sent long text messages and claiming they don't even care, Gabbie never apologized or admitted that she did anything wrong, and people started looking at her differently. 1 month later, at the end of 2019, this video, "Gabbie Hanna Needs to Be Stopped," would change the public perception even more. This is Jessi Smiles. Her and Gabbie used to be best friends way back in the Vine early YouTube days. At one point, Jessi even let Gabbie move into her house. And this is a trigger warning: sexual assault and rape. In 2013, Jessi was dating Curtis Lepore, who was a very popular Viner with millions of followers. Jessi suffered from a concussion and asked Curtis for help. She went to his house, fell asleep, and allegedly woke up to him having sex with her unconscious body. She filed a police report privately, and he was arrested in September of 2013. TMZ broke the story to the public, and fans immediately took Curtis's side and attacked Jessi. He was being charged with felony rape, but Curtis took a plea deal and was charged with felony assault that was later reduced to a misdemeanor. He got some community service and a slap on the wrist. People take plea deals for many reasons. Sometimes trials are lengthy and expensive. Sometimes they know they have a high chance of being found guilty. Nobody knows exactly what happened between the two because it did not go to trial. However, he did take to social media to brag and insult Jessi after his plea deal. Jessi found out that Gabbie was hanging out with Curtis and his friends in 2014. If someone is your best friend, they wouldn't typically hang out with someone who pled guilty to assaulting you. Obviously, Jessi was mad, and they cut ties with each other. Slowly over the years, fans watched the story times from Jessi and Gabbie and realized they were potentially talking about each other. Gabbie's "stole my best friend's boyfriend" or "psycho roommate" story times ended up being about Jessi. Die-hard fans, T-channels, and blogs started to put the pieces together, but Gabbie and Jessi never truly came out and talked about it because most survivors have zero interest in bringing their trauma public. Until this tweet came out from a 15-year-old fan. A lot of people forget or don't know that Gabbie Hanna chose a rapist who admittedly wrote and signed a confession to the cops over her then best friend, who was the victim, and she didn't just do it privately, but publicly. That's always bothered me. This fan then received a message from Gabbie. They engaged in these long messages back and forth where Gabbie convinced this fan that Jessi had been in the background starting a hate campaign against Gabbie, trying to turn people against her because Gabbie was friends with the man who assaulted her. Again, long-winded essays about how Gabbie is the victim and that Jessi is Gabbie's abuser, even though she says her life is so good and she doesn't care about this drama, but she is spending hours DMing a random fan. The fan sent the messages to Jessi, and Jessi made the video exposing them because she was afraid Gabbie would manipulate more people.
Is hang out with their and his friends. So I was hurt and I told Gabbie, this is fucked up. Like, I'm really hurt. And she defended herself when all of this happened, and she said, I was hanging out with his friends. I wasn't hanging out with him. He just so happened to be there and he pulled me to the side. I didn't intend to talk to him, whatever.
Now even Gabbie's own fans were turning on her because they realized she should have just cut Curtis out of her life and had Jessi's back, like what a good friend would do. Instead, she is acting like a victim of this situation. But after Jessi's video, Gabbie didn't respond for about 6 months. The day after her response, she dropped a new song. Her response to the drama was just more playing the victim, but she does say,
I have zero association with Curtis Lepore.
Gabbie says that her and Jessi's fallout is something totally separate and private, but Jessi says, no, our fallout is because you are a, quote, apologist, which is basically someone who shows more concern to the predator rather than the victim. Gabbie has accused Jessi of being abusive, manipulative, narcissistic, conniving, hateful, evil, and although she says she would never defend Curtis, she has never once said anything bad about him. Plus, Curtis himself even said that Gabbie reached out to him and told him how sorry she felt for him.
It's like, no matter what I say or do, it's you're the victim, you're a martyr, you're trying to pretend you're somebody, you're ignoring it, so that means you're this, like, no matter what action I take, it's just, you're a bad person, you're manipulative. You literally want me to disappear, and so do I, so like.
This is where things got really, really bad for Gabbie. Addressing the drama did not boost interest in her song Bad Karma. Ironic. Her views started dropping. Her music wasn't selling. People were fed up. She started blaming everyone but herself.
Because I'm collecting all of the data and the evidence that my music videos, Glass House and Bad Karma specifically, that I can prove right now, were shadow banned and like hidden from my audience.
I'll admit YouTube is extremely frustrating. Even I have troubles with monetization, censorship, It's not a perfect platform, but she was talking about the performance of a music video. Music is subjective. Sometimes even your own people don't like your song.
Like the pain you feel when that thing like fails, just as like a creator and an artist, is like an ego hit, and like you get your hopes crushed and like your expectations crushed. And that like when I told them that I was literally on the brink of suicide from what was happening to me, because like
threatening self-delete because of a low music video performance. At the end of the day, you just gotta keep it pushing. It's a roller coaster. We all have ups and downs. She kept releasing music, and the views just got lower and lower. But we're still talking like 500K, 1 to 2 million, maybe a little less. Like, still way better than your average artist. So a month goes by, and she decides to bring up some drama again.
You're gonna talk about my mental health as I'm having a mental breakdown because you gaslighted and mentally abused me for months, and now I'm talking about it and I'm losing my mind? To have the audacity to question somebody's mental health and mock them while they're having an emotional breakdown because of what you did, you narcissistic abuser piece of shit.
Now, she does have a little bit of a point here. Nobody wants to mock somebody's mental health. But remember when she was DMing that fan about Jessi? Well, she mocked Jessi for being on medication.
She's called me so many times saying she's been on meds and is better now and was sorry for everything. When I have never called Gabbie Hanna and said, hi, I'm on medication, I'm so sorry for everything, I realized I was wrong. You know, you're always talking about mental health and therapy and, you know, how you've gone through your journey with that. Like, it's so weird to me that you would bring up someone else's medication that they talk to you about in private.
But despite Jessi being attacked by Gabbie's stans, she decided to leave it alone, so it fizzled away for a little bit. At the end of 2020, Gabbie entered her super chill stoner character arc. She did story times, dropped some more music, but her views just kept going down. Don't worry, her life was amazing.
Dude, I have such a good life. Like, I love my life. I have a sick life, a sick place to live, I have a sick boyfriend, I have sick friends. Like, I have so much sick in my life.
Gabbie vlogged every day around Christmas of 2020, and then took a break from social media for 4 months before returning in April. At this point, it had almost been a full year of no drama. Her return to YouTube and TikTok was strange.
I'm back, bitches. And I don't want to hear I'm acting different. Fuck being good. I'm a bad bitch, and I'm sick.
There was also this tweet: daily reminder that I could fuck both your parents and the one person on earth that you love, but choose not to. I love you all. Have an amazing day. Gabbie, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for waking up today and deciding to not have sex with my parents. You are such a good person for choosing not to do that. Like, what did she want people to say to that tweet? Thanks? In June of 2021, things were about to get wild. Gabbie did a Buzzfeed interview called Why Is Everyone So Mad at Gabbie Hanna?, where the 30-year-old essentially blames Jessi Smiles, drama channels, Twitter accounts, trolls, and everyone but herself for the low performance of her music and YouTube videos. When the interviewer asked about the Curtis Lepore and Jessi situation, she said, "Who didn't I apologize to? I gave Jessi Smiles an apology. It feels like I'm always dishing out apologies and I've never once received one, and that to me feels a little chaotic." I have personally never seen the words "I'm sorry" come out of Gabbie's mouth without having "but" come right after it. I'm sorry, but now Gabbie's stans are barraging Jessi in attempts to get her to see this article, making her relive the most traumatic experience of her life. And after going 1.5 years without saying anything, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Jessi released a private phone conversation that her and Gabbie had, where Gabbie admits to,
And then I told him,
why would you listen to him? Why would you listen to him? Like, really? Why would you? He like even.
I was getting ready to defend you. Like, I was
But for what? Just don't. Just say no, sir. Thanks. Like, fuck you. Like, even though she's not my friend, I don't want to hear how you think you did her.
Literally, I deadass was waiting for him to lie. And like,
Who cares? Like, just hang up. Fuck him.
Jessi, I wanted to fight for you too.
Don't. Like, literally, him.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. But like when he said that, I literally wanted to catch him in his lie. So then
For what?
he told me his story, and I told him. Well,
so why is this a big deal? Again, if you're my best friend and you tell me this person assaulted you, I'm riding for you. I don't even care what they have to say, especially after they were found guilty by a judge. But that's just how I roll with my best friends. I don't know about y'all. This 3-hour phone call was leaked. All of the fans noticed how manipulative and toxic Gabbie was.
Using and siding with Curtis that day, and yet you are fighting the whole internet using my trauma to do it and saying this never happened. That is apologistic behavior that I forgave you for. So if everyone wants to call you an apologist, I'm not.
So why are you talking about it in 2020? Why are you talking about it in 2020 then?
Because you are.
Jessi, what are you talking about? You did this.
Do you not realize that you did this? Do you not truly, truly see that everything that is happening right now is a direct result of what you did in every way?
In light of Jessi releasing the phone call, Gabbie uploaded a video called Confessions of a Washed Up YouTube Has-Been. In this video, she gives an update for her fans and explains that she will be releasing a multi-part series addressing every controversy she has ever been in the past few years. She prefaced us with some information that this series was filmed before she started treating her ADHD, which some people look at her as essentially deflecting some of her behavior on this disorder. Also in that Buzzfeed article, she said, "Of course I was a f***ing asshole. I have a neurological disorder that was unchecked, and I wasn't taking care of my mental health." So it kind of seems like she was maybe trying to get people to feel bad for her for not taking care of her mental health, even though she's 30 and like probably should be handling those things. Chapter 1 was about stealing jokes and the RiceGum controversy. Chapter 2 was about the Bianca controversy, which is the one time where I believe Gabbie was actually targeted. Gabbie made a video called Transforming Myself into a TikTok E-Girl, where she was scrolling through an article that explains what a TikTok E-Boy and E-Girl is and what their aesthetic is like. Gabbie is skimming through the article, not reading it, just looking at the pictures and commenting on their outfits. The last picture is of a 17-year-old girl named Bianca Devins who was tragically murdered. Gabbie very obviously did not see the text. She complimented her looks and then moved on. Her face was on the screen for just a few seconds. T-channels and drama YouTube channels then attacked Gabbie and said that she was using Bianca for views. They also said Gabbie is tone deaf and needs to blur Bianca's face and is shamelessly profiting off of a young girl's death, but these T-channels were using Bianca in their thumbnails. Gabbie cut the part out, apologized to the family, made an official public apology, and the Devins family issued a statement saying that they were not upset with Gabbie.
We just want to say that we were not offended by it at all. We didn't see anything wrong with what she did. She Googled e-girl and pulled up a picture of Bianca. Yes, there was an article about what happened to her. Simple mistake. It was a simple mistake. There was nothing disrespectful about it. We didn't feel disrespected.
The T-channels never said sorry or admitted that they were wrong, and it's pretty clear that most of them were using this poor girl as a pawn for their drama. Chapter 3 was kind of just addressing a lot of different controversies. Chapter 4, in my opinion, is extremely long-winded and not really that important, but in short, Gabbie was working on a YouTube Red show, Escape the Night, and everyone said she was a nightmare to work with. She even admits that she was a nightmare to work with, but somehow was still a victim of bullying.
Good, like I was just unprofessional. Dude, a lot of people have a lot of stories about me being unprofessional. I promise you that. Like there's no shortage of them. I used to be really difficult to work with, and probably in the wrong setting, I'm still really difficult to work with.
But again, throughout this, she was putting up screenshots of symptoms of ADHD, sort of insinuating that it's okay to be a nightmare to work with when you have ADHD. Also in chapter 4, she talks about a scam product she promoted a few years ago, Kenza Cosmetics.
That's the thing. When I say like I'm sorry to the people that I've like hurt through that, like I would never ever want to fucking scam my fans, and that's—
I didn't talk about this because nowadays with NFTs and crypto pump and dumps, basically every influencer has promoted a scam and felt no remorse. Gabbie is no different. In chapter 5, she goes back and forth with Trisha Paytas seemingly forever, all of it stemming from that STD comment that she wrongfully made 2 years earlier. But the most damaging video of them all was about the 3-hour phone call with Jessi Smiles. Gabbie made a 30-minute video. Jessi made a 1-hour response to this. There is a lot of information in here, but there are a few important points here that speak volumes about Gabbie. First,
why am I being asked about Jessi Smiles in a Buzzfeed article? Because Jessi Smiles made sure that I would be asked about her for the rest of my fucking career, probably.
In an interview, you have the right to not speak about any topic, especially with a major publication. If she didn't want to be asked about Jessi, she can just say no comment, and they will not publish it. Gabbie seems to think that Jessi has made it her life's mission to accuse Gabbie of being friends with Curtis. So Gabbie is a victim of being friends with a rapist.
All he asked was to be heard, and I listened.
Then she explains how Jessi goes about attacking her.
You don't see the hundreds of tweets that she mass unliked.
Mass unliking tweets. This would imply that Gabbie keeps track of what Jessi is liking on Twitter and trying to use those likes as evidence of attacking Gabbie.
You don't see the tweet and delete.
Then she puts a tweet on the screen that Gabbie is not mentioned in. Therefore, she is assuming Jessi is talking about her in any tweet that is negative.
You don't see the voice messages and the text that she sends me threatening me, crossing my boundaries.
Then she brings on the screen text messages of Jessi threatening her. But if you read them, there are no threats. I'm not trying to pressure you. I don't need or want to sit down and make a video. This whole message on the left is Jessi asking to keep things off of social media. I'm not saying I am making a video. I haven't made up my mind yet. Making a video is the last thing I want to do. Literally all of these texts are Jessi begging Gabbie to handle this with her privately, off of social media, out of the public eye. I need you all to pay attention to Gabbie right now because this is just a small detail but shows how her logic is not sound.
You don't see the tweet and deletes.
She just said that she uses deleted tweets as evidence of Jessi attacking her. Then listen to this.
And telling me that if I don't do what she wants, that she's going to put out another video with more evidence. And the evidence being tweets that I deleted in 2014.
So you can use Jessi's deleted tweets as evidence even when you are not mentioned in them, but Jessi cannot use your deleted tweets as evidence? She just totally contradicted herself in a 16-second span. Anyways, Gabbie says she didn't want to have a private phone call with Jessi and that she needed to respect her boundaries.
Threatening me, crossing my boundaries that I'm setting firmly.
Then later on in this video, she goes on to speculate as to what actually happened the night of Jessi's assault, and if what happened is actually considered rape or not. I'm not going to put clips because who in their right mind would ever speculate about a situation as serious as that publicly to their millions of followers, on top of the fact that a judge already made a decision as to what happened 7 years ago. So it's interesting that Gabbie ever brings up respecting boundaries when she's willing to go as far as that. Here's another random situation where she used a text message as proof and claims she tried to reach out to this person, and the person in the text says, "You have the wrong number."
He ignored my call. I texted him. He said that he didn't want to talk because he was sleeping.
You have the wrong number? Alex? I have a new number, so you might not have this one. Nope, this isn't Alex. Oh, this is Gab. You free to talk? How can you argue with somebody that literally put a text message on the screen as proof that she reached out to someone that literally in the text says, "This is not the person you are trying to reach"? And if you need any more reasons why you should question everything Gabbie says, here you go.
I've been living in constant fear that a lie that I don't even know I'm telling is gonna catch up with me because I don't fucking remember it. Because I do impulsive shit and then I forget about it. I have memory issues, dude.
So we're supposed to feel bad that Gabbie is a self-admitted pathological liar who can't keep up with her own lies. Then on the screen she puts, "This is not an excuse." Don't know why "not" has asterisks around it. I cannot take ownership of something that I do not remember and is not communicated to me. Now Gabbie has an excuse to get her out of any situation forever. She is saying, if I don't remember, it didn't happen. After this multi-part series, her content got weird.
Anyway, fuck it. I've done so much.
Fans thought she totally lost it. In October of 2021, she deleted almost her entire YouTube catalog and only left her music and random videos posted within the past year. Her YouTube presence dwindled to the lowest it had ever been, but she remained pretty active on TikTok. She started opening up a lot more about her mental health.
I'm bipolar, which means some days I think that I can save the world and other days I want to kill.
Not sure if this bipolar was a real diagnosis or a self-diagnosis, but then her videos got a bit more strange.
I'm either a psychic medium, I'm getting direct communication from aliens, or from God or angels or another cosmic being, or all of the above. Something's different. I just call it God. And all of it started happening when I started expressing direct gratitude. I had a cup of coffee and I was like, wow, I'm so fucking grateful for this cup of coffee.
Gabbie says she is freaked out, that she's a psychic medium. She's talking with aliens, and that all of this started happening when she started being grateful for her life, her friends, her coffee, and goes on to explain some of the most normal human experiences. Gabbie Hanna thinks she's living in an alternate reality because she is feeling very normal human emotions. Wait, your third eye is opening. This happened to me too. 100. Stay tuned for this fucking ride. And just last week, Gabbie would go on to post over 170 TikToks in 48 hours in what seems to be a full-blown manic episode.
You know, every time I say I'm gonna save the world, people laugh at me. But why doesn't everybody else together, like me, with me, every single day, manifest saving the world? Instead of laughing, why don't you pray with me? Why don't you encourage me?
She talked about religion a lot throughout this, claiming she knows about the afterlife, about God, about Jesus, that she is Jesus, or she is God, or the Son of God. This is not something Gabbie would normally talk about, and this can be a sign somebody is going into a manic state.
Help me! Help me!
Let me show you how Mother Mary wants us to pray. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Holy Mary, Mother of Grace, pray for us sinners. I did it. I beat DID. I beat ADHD, depression, anxiety. I beat OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Because people, humans, your brothers and sisters who have gone to hell and back, realize everybody wants to be Jesus. It's all going to be all right. Praise be. It's all going to be all right.
She would seemingly snap out of it for a little bit and go back to the normal Gabbie of kind of bragging about her life and how amazing it is. So people were questioning whether it was a stunt or not.
So many people who actually don't give a fuck about anyone but themselves, regardless of how hard they've been lying to themselves for a very long time, are so concerned for me because I'm manic, right? As I sit in my cozy, private loft on top of my house. Look what the internet did collectively to hate a fucking woman for no fucking reason other than fun. Look what we are capable of collectively if we would remember we instead of always fucking attacking she. And that's why I am so successful. My house is paid for. My house is paid for. My house is paid for. It's almost like it's almost as like I'm in heaven and you're all still stuck in hell. That I could actually be the second coming of Jesus Christ. God does have dark humor. He is a horny, sick fuck. It's okay to have dirty thoughts. I can teach you how to feel better about them.
Now, there's definitely nothing wrong with expressing your religion. Sure, maybe she didn't normally do this, but who knows, maybe she had a spiritual awakening. But then she kind of started offending people.
I am an accomplished author of 2 New York Times best-selling poetry books. I have around or more than 20 million followers. Is it because I'm a woman of color? It's actually kind of stressful being a woman of color, a young woman of color in a white as fuck rich neighborhood. I keep telling you guys that. I'm Middle Eastern. I traveled from Lebanon, a Maronite crusader of the Catholic Church.
Gabbie is from Pennsylvania. She claims that she is a woman of color because she is from Lebanese descent, despite looking and probably identifying as white her whole life.
I grew up in a black neighborhood. I was actually the only white girl in my neighborhood outside of my sisters, but I rode the school bus alone. I was the only white girl on my school bus. And here's a bit of irony. They made me sit in the front. All the cool kids sat in the back and they bullied the fuck out of me. They twisted my hair, they pulled it, they called me names. They didn't let me play with them because I wasn't like them. But my best friends at school were still the black girls because they were the kindest.
And just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, a random stranger found their way into Gabbie's home. What you are seeing here is a man named Nick knocking on Gabbie Hanna's door and asking if he can come inside to use her bathroom.
Oh, hi. Hi. Think I can use your bathroom?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, everybody, I'm literally inside of the house right now.
A friend just texted me and I told him that I was gonna go on a run for a guy who showed up at my house and was just feeling a little lost, asked to use the bathroom, and now we're gonna go for a run together. He asked to pray with me. It was really nice. And his text was, Gab, listen to me now. Get that man out of your house.
Gabbie goes on to explain that a friend of hers reached out and said, Gabbie, kick that guy out of your house right now. But she assures that Nick is friendly and that he's nice and that he won't do any harm to her.
We know he means well, but Nicholas is good. And we're gonna go for a run because we already prayed and had our coffee and listened to music.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
Fans were terrified for Gabbie. They thought she was in real danger. Then she posted a bunch of videos of them dancing and him just kind of following her around her house. He gave everyone an extremely uncomfortable vibe. Why was he there? Is this even real?
By the way, Nick, I know you know who I am. Come on. Why did you lie to me this whole time? Why did you lie to me? That's for my acne, you dumb cunt. Get the fuck out of my house, now. Now. Now!
After Nick got home, he decided to go on TikTok and explain why he was there.
Yeah, I was trying to get her to eat something. I was trying to get her to drink something. I was looking at the medications that she had. Maybe if I could try to like get a medication into her body that would help her come out of the psychosis. I've seen it before. I've had friends have dealt with it before.
So he was saying that he had real life experience to be able to help, but while he was there, he posted this TikTok.
I honestly would like to help. I don't know what to do though. So if anybody has any suggestions, I'm here. Everybody says somebody needs to help her.
So this man went to a social media influencer's house, scoured through her medications, and tried to get her to take some pills. At some point, Gabbie realized what was going on and kicked him out. Also, during this 48 hours, the cops came and did 2 wellness checks on her. Both of the times, they decided that she was perfectly okay. And Gabbie just kept doing what she was doing.
I'm gonna keep reminding you that I'm Middle Eastern, and I have always been Middle Eastern. But for some reason, isn't it so weird that the world insists on seeing me as white?
And after 48 hours, eventually Gabbie calmed down. According to her, 2 psych evaluation professionals declared there was no need for any intervention. So if the professionals said that she was okay and healthy, what was all of this? A manic episode? An attention stunt? A giant joke?
I found out yesterday I was on TMZ again. But just like Brit, hey TMZ.
Gabbie has burned every bridge she ever had. She damaged her reputation even to her own followers. Time and time again, she abandoned the audience that made her who she was. She got into controversy after controversy and never, not once, took accountability for anything, even though she really thinks she did. Every apology had a stipulation. She was always the victim. She stooped as low as to say that she can't be held accountable for anything she doesn't remember. Sure, she has mentioned her ADHD disorder and potentially a bipolar disorder, but we don't know anything about her medical record, so it's tough to speculate on that. Before a couple weeks ago, her relevance dwindled to an all-time low. Nobody was making videos about her, none of her songs were gaining traction, even her live shows had a max of like 40 people in the crowd. Gabbie now has the spotlight back on her, and for better or for worse, she loves it. A lot of the drama channels and tea channels are now expressing sympathy for her. Her biggest enemies online are now worried about her, wishing her well. Nobody would assume this is all an attention stunt because we don't want to further the stigma against mental health. We don't want people to look at mania and think they must be faking, because then people will have a hard time getting the proper care they need. I mean, faking Tourette's, faking cancer, faking death. We've seen some people go pretty far. But if Gabbie does get the proper help she needs, gets back into the good graces of all her enemies and all the people she battled with, then goes back to the Gabbie Hanna her fans used to know and love, then everybody wins, but especially Gabbie.